Mendra La Gania Dayami Sanje Cheta Zoji Jana La Janju Badu Danye Jesu Dagui Chujin Jive Tsonan Je Dola Benje Sanje Juba Jo Sanje Cheta Zoji Jana La Janju Danye Jesu Je Dagui Chujin Jive Dola Benje Sanje Juba Jo Sanje Cheta Zoji Jana La Janju Badu Danye Jesu Je Dagui Chujin Jive Tsonan Je Dola Benje Sanje Juba Jo La Dana Mesdames, en bout d'un déjeuner, la société, je la vois, je vois, la santé, son père, le fils, tu veux dire, les arrachés, les médecins, les dirigeants, les dirigeants, les je vois, tenir, tu vas te la chose, tu es un croix. De la baigne, j'ai chanté sur ça, mais dans le dernier, les bateaux, les tués, soignés, qui est normal, et que dans le temps, les gens que tu vois, qu'on y est dans le titre. Tant que tu as que tu t'endos. Oh, là, ça. 주진 참고 공복이 온도쟁이 최적의 가도 아니 년도에 시와 초남 군신이지 니시 트자 강연다 돌아 편바체나 람신이지 지된 튼루 잡아가 간다 양다 댐베 툼남 남바군데 나서 디숨바 아니 년도에 장주 선비 소제 상제진이 юм데라 차차로 전에 송하나시 전에 아디기 가르sun 거래에서나 티바스 카사수한다 유한나 시에전에 티바스미에 카사 년되지 카사 라자지 카사 아니 티신지 카사 수문지 아체 다 된다와 되기 랑랑가기 톱지 창주대 아니 소리 제백이 탑대라 톱지 창주 년되기 톱지 창주대 그 차원도지기 동안 여러 시위 니시 어때 초와 인상 년대 시와 초남 시가 말에 시와 초남.
So taking a quotation from Maitreya's Abhisamaya Alankara, the clear ornament of realizations, within that it talks about the individuals of the three vehicles, the hearers, the solitary realizers, and the bodhisattvas who seek their own attainment of their own individual state of enlightenment. So the hearers, the type of enlightenment that they seek is the total pacification of the suffering. The pervasive, the suffering of pervasive conditioning.
시카사게 다기 깨와면 방송도 비시 되기 아니 담보 시와 되니기 삼바께 시와 되니기 삼바께디 갱내중 제거하러 근데 내중 깨와라 때네 되니 그시 가사게 다음에 또 하기 세상 그 때라 밥디 아니 가사게 다음에 무슨 또 비시대 공부 쳐발라 때네 아니 대우 아니 가르에서나 차와두지 지동안 여러 시민이 시토바 인장 땡년들 탑시시 대부 아니 차와두지 그동안 여러 시민이 시세니까 땡답 개숨지 관에 도시 제거하래.
So the hearers who seek that peace do so seeking a peace that which is attained by the total pacification of the suffering of pervasive conditioning, and they do so on the basis of on the basis of the knowledge of the on the basis of the knowledge of the selflessness of a person. And so this is sought on the on the basis of first generating renunciation, and then cultivating the wisdom, realizing the selflessness of person, and on the basis of such a realization, then you have the pacification of the suffering of the pervasive conditioning. So you have the basis of a hero being a hero, Shravaka, and basis and Shishe, and the knowledge of all that base. And Shishe means knowing the basis of meaning, referring to the selflessness of person. And as a result of that knowledge of that base, then you have the result of the the pacification of suffering, of the suffering of pervasive conditioning.
Ane shula nyaranye wodi tipa memba chipa yenzang. Ane ten ranja. Ane tab shishe. Debu ranja ki ane dunga nyawa shiwi nishi. Te shula checho gware.
So although it has been expressed directly in the context of a Shravaka, but the same applies to the the solitary realizer as well, because both are of the Hinayana vehicle, the individual vehicle. So the only difference is the difference of the base of being being of the base that is categorized as a solitary realizer, and employing the same method of knowing the basis, and then actualizing. As a result of that, actualizing the Shravaka enlightenment, that which is the pacification of the suffering of pervasive conditioning.
That is Dola Pemba Chenam, Lamshi Niji, Jigden Tundu Jaba Kang, Segana, Dola Pemba Chenam, Segana, Ane Tajunde, Daniela Loba Papa Shabana, Shichen, Dilayang, Dan Chanju Saman, Drovata Pendin Rugagi, Dan Chansen Papa. Pendant Rubagi top the carriere Sana, Ane Lamsum Demba Dembijam Bangosun to be shitty, Yinzang, Lamshi Nijis. What top Lamshi Tela Dene, Jiden Tundu Zaba Kang Sana, and the Dujanian Jirijan, Dujaranja Jirijan, Duja Tijin Jirijan, Sum Jiri, and the turn to Bazabai, they and Debula Shadi, Lamshi La, then Chansen Papa. Tab Lamshi, Lamsun de Bijang was soon to be Lamshi. Debu, Ane Lamshi, Ane Castle, Jitansi, Dujarism to turn to Bati, and a devil like Shine Bati.
Then just Samba,
Chansen Papa,
Chansen Papa, Tab
Lamsun de Bijang was soon to be city, the Lamshi Niji's chair. Jitan to do Tabakang, Segala, so Debu to check.
And so. And then you have, in order to benefit migratory beings, then doing so on the basis of the knowledge of the paths, fulfilling the welfare of the world, and for that, then you have the Arya Bodhisattvas. So the base being a Bodhisattva and Arya Bodhisattva, and then accomplishing the activities of benefiting through employing the method of the knowledge of the three paths, knowing the Shravaka hero's path, knowing through the knowledge of the solitary realizer's path, through the knowledge of the Mahayana path, then actualizing the result of fulfilling the welfare of the world. So for this, then you have the base bodhisattva, the method of the knowledge of the paths, the direct, generating that exalted knower of the direct knowledge of those paths, and actualizing the result of benefiting beings who are of the hero's lineage, who are of the solitary realizer's lineage, and who are of the Mahayana lineage, through the knowledge of those paths.
Okay, that tiki Lamshela, then top the Usum you gonna do about the chat. Teacher, Kanda Yanda Dembe, Tumnem, number Kundan Nazon Disumba, Seatigi, Anet Sanja Papa. Anet Tab Namshi, Kanda Yanda Dembe, Sega, Tuba said the Tup Seg, Nemo Shi to Pacha Pam Pamba in town. And number Kundan Sega, number Taji Chambaki, she, Tam Namjin. Tam Namjin la Dene. And the Ducha Chansumla, Shijukoro Tobacco, number Kundan Nazo Disumba. See, Odi, then Sanja Papa, Tam Namjin, Debu number Tajibi, Shela Dene, and the Ducha Jansumla Chongo Maluba Kobadi, and Debula to Shagari.
And then you have the last line, praising the. Praising the basis of being a Buddha, the Muni, Tuba, meaning having subdued everything that needs to be subdued, like that, and employing the method of the exalted knower that knows all, the omniscient mind, employing that method, and actualizing the result of turning the wheel of Dharma of the three vehicles.
Ane Sanje Chanju Sembi, Nyande Chanju Sanzen, Soje Sanje Gini Yumdela, Nyande Chanju Sembi, Soje Sanje Gini Yumdela, Chachalo, Segana, Ane Shishi de, Ane Shishi de la, Kasore, Nyande Papaki, Ane Rang Debet, Chawachi Dushiti, Dumania Wachivi, Nishiti, and the Tobar Cheba in Zang, Jumba Nishiti, Jumba Cheba in Jumba Cheba, Jumba Chebata. Lamshi, de Chansen Papaki, Duja Rejansum, 10 Juba Chebe, 10 to Juba Cheba in the Ani Kasore, Debet 10 Juba Cheba. Or Sanje Namjigi, Sanje, and Sanje Papaki, and the Chiju Koroko, whatever, and the Denduba Cheba in Zam. Ani Yum Simintaguari, Ransa Papi Shetenduba, Lamshi Shishigi, and Ransa Papa de Nyande Papa. Lamshigi Shetendubagi, Ransa Papa de Dujarisum Tender Chansen Papa. Sanje Nabate Jibi Shiki Shetenduba de Sanje Papa in Zang, Shetendubi Chemba Imba in Zang, Shishi Lamshi Namje Sumbotela. And Yum Setanya
and then the last line, that I prostrate to the mother of to that which is the mother of all the Buddhas. So. That which is known as, praised as being the mother of all the Buddhas, is these paths. Are these the knowledge of the basis, knowledge of the paths, and the omniscient mind. The knowledge of the basis refers to the knowledge of the basis is what gives rise to the fulfillment of the wishes of the hearers and solitary realizers. What is their wish? Their wish is to attain the total pacification of suffering of pervasive conditioning, and that is brought about through the knowledge of the basis. And then, in the case of the Arya Shravakas and Arya Pratikas, then you have the knowledge of the paths, which gives rise to the fulfillment of the wishes of the Arya Bodhisattvas. And what is the wish of the Arya Bodhisattvas is to fulfill the welfare of the three types of individuals. The individuals of the heroes lineage, solitary realizers lineage, and Mahayana lineage, and then the the omniscient mind. The omniscient mind is what fulfills the wishes of the Arya Buddhas with respect to their activities of turning the wheel of Dharma for the three types of beings, three types of beings. So, in this way, these three, knowing the knowledge of the basis, the knowledge of the path, and the omniscient, all-knowing mind, are praised as the mother of, praised as being the mother of all the Buddhas.
Namjin attend the Jesum Jukone Deba Tiki. Then Sanja Papa Tap Namjin la Dene, and Duja Rijan, Sum Sigala, Yanduji Rijan, Ranjaji Rijan, Tijin Rijan Sungwala, and the Rangi, Chanju Tujiki Tabye, Chongo la Dene. And the Yanduji Rijan Tiki, and she was Choa Pagin, Papa Tiki, and 타바테니 그 로당 제고 타바테니 그 로디 심비 시간사 그 다면 무슨 도비 시시테 공발라 때네 다 되니다 통람네 무슨 또 통화인장 통마 시간사 그 다면 무슨 도비 통람게 되네 아니 가소래 랑기 타바토지기 타바토바는 두시기 방자 민주 좀 봐, 신도 봐. 아니 가서 타바차지 심링기 아니 어제 인주인마 신도 타바차지 아니 통금 통남 광남 아니 타네 다른 연대 자전거 공방토에 드시 란자야 tinde시 토에체 그봐
praising the all-knowing mind, the omniscient mind, from the perspective of the base, method, and result. The base being the Arya Buddhas, the method being the turning of the wheel of the Dharma, for the individuals of the three types. Whatever is the object of whatever is the object of attainment, enlightenment, then accordingly turning the wheel of Dharma for that type of individuals. So, in the case of the heroes who seek the peace of liberation, then teaching on these individuals then seek liberation on the basis of generating realization of the selflessness of a phenomena. This is the knowledge of the basis. And by meditating upon such a basis, then they actualize the path of seeing, the direct knowledge of that basis, the selflessness of a person, and through that, then they come to abandon all of the obscuring afflictions gradually. All of the obscuring afflictions that exist on the basis of the mind are gradually purified, and then eventually attain the hero's state, the arhat.
Oh yeah,
and then the same goes for the solitary realizers.
아니 탑지나바 군단데 탑니지 첨보다 자주심 semji 심비 돈용 모습도 또 베셔럽 통람나 토마 톱니 데네 톱네 곰데 아니 통람 그냥 가지고 semji 치마 통반다 자위 통반그 언니 전에 통반다 다 semji sem지 천이 통반다 답에 다자 데네를 마 신도 아니 사주 사 니와네 듬비 발로 마다베 크마다 해체 안에 되네 사숨 타바숨지 그림지 빵데 안에 두자리 전숨지 전주바데 독수용 와인 받다.
Then likewise then you have the base of being a upon the basis of being a bodhisattva, then employing the method of compassion, bodhicitta, and the wisdom realizing emptiness, attaining the path of seeing. And by the force of these meditations on the path of seeing, then in graduated stages, then purifying all of the defilements of the mind, everything, all of those objects of abandonment, objects of dread, abandonment of the path of seeing, then abandoning it, from the second level up to the seventh level. Then whatever defilements, impure defilements are there, then gradually are abandoned, and then and after that, then the defilements of the three pure levels are purified, and then that is what gives rise to the result of their being able to fulfill the welfare of the world.
Oh yeah, that is that. Mandu di ma che chama janzu de la kasangi shisum jina dana dini ma de san sumja tambati ra sumja dewa sumja tambati che.
So then continuing from yesterday, the commentary of the Tibetan text, page 300.
Chima Jang Rung Lubu Wadan, Te Jongeta, Chima Chita, Sayu Sula, Demba, said, that's our Church Twitchy, DJ Tribe, Jibatani, Sevan Zay, said Tamati, Betamati. Our Church Twitchy, Jibatani, Besawa Zay, said Dua Beguati, Tamati.
Well, it's all the Hatreke, it's all Chiklonanda.
Church Twitchy, Jibatani, Sewa Zay, said the tea and Jachin Zarada.
Pardon? 127.
Our Shugudilla, Jadan Dunji de Duga Delena Libanis Tinsai, but
and did you look at Chasan Chisunanda in the house?
So, no, Chata and Matusha, Treasure in Dubatem said, Chitanang Sishin Sujeba,
end of verse 127. Yeah, removes the obstruction.
That he may say about Lajasayina to Chujuje, she did Rajan Kevin, Sada Sewa Chabata. Teaching Quinjan Tabi said that she will in children, Church to Jetini, Dubatani Sewa Zay, said that it's Tintani, Begoodis, Shetani.
So, just as one skilled in making statues, knowing a statue contained inside an earthen mold made from blazing undefiled gold as the nature of quiescence, since it is without defilement, removes the earthen mold, so the omniscient wisdom of the Buddha, knowing the quiescent mind like pure gold, removes the obstructions through exposition of the doctrines, which are methods for this, by means of accomplishing the gentle pressure of this stroke that removes the earthen mold. So this completes the presentation of the 9 obscured and the obscuring phenomena.
Zumba Tendu de la Teda, Kongi Tendu de la Samja Zawa Javasum Benane, and a Samja de Benam to do it. Daniwa and Zawa de la Dipjetan, Bedam, Dipjeki, and some generation to Malubo to Beton, say, Tendu de la Sumigana, Dipjeki Pay Tendu de la Bama Soja Pomata, Bumbatani, Mitasa, Jason Kuru Pimeji, Sadan, Mata Saye Punayan, young said.
So then you have verse 129, which is the verse for the examples for what obscures in an ugly lotus, the lotus, the bees, the husk-filled earth, peel of a fruit-tattered garment, a garment womb of a woman, and an earthen mold are the examples of the obscuring phenomena. Ramesh just read verse 130. The coverings of the afflictive emotions in the continuums of sentient beings, because of not being related with the nature of the mind, are adventitious, but have abided beginninglessly together with the element of a superior qualities. However, the undefiled nature of the mind is said to have abided as the great pure nature without being polluted by those faults beginninglessly.
Mandre Toma Mebana, Semji Rashin to Min, Toma Imba Joba, said, that's Sumbani said. Rawa, Semji Rashin Tapa Lubu to be turned, said, Semji Kamji, Nyamon be boo, Zawada, Rashin Maduji, Semji Rashin la Mashiwa. Ane Mandreva, Rashin the Toma Mebana, Mandreva, T. Toma Mebana, Yoba, Ane Semji Rashin, Dembe Tonwa. And tomorrow, she meba to see Boni, Toma Mebana Yoba Jede, said in Badata. Semji come some year, Kaji, Yamombe, Mandre Toma Mebana, some year, she Timini, Toma Meba Yoba Je.
And then the explanation, and this is the verse to illustrate that the defilements do not exist in the nature of the mind, and that these defilements are adventitious. The coverings of afflictions in the realm of sentient beings do not exist by their own nature, nor are they part of the nature of mind. Therefore, they are unconnected. The nature of mind in existence since beginningless time is emptiness of true existence. The Tathagata, the essence, empty by nature of the defilements. This is said to have existed since beginningless time because the mind has never existed by its own nature.
Oh, yeah. That is some subject you can on it. You are base champion, so the Shaba said it.
Then
the not issue page about the same common over that team by the subject.
Then the outline is explaining the meaning behind all the meaning of all the illustrated examples.
So
there's an outline. Individual explanation of the phenomena illustrated by the similes.
You are come to Gigi Yawada, Kansa Kanlan Tiba, Duji Bedin Chudin Shaba, Duja come to Bedin Chudin Shaba.
And types of obscuration of the basic element, type of person obscured, correspondence in the similes of basic element obscuration, and correspondence in the similes of the obscured basic element.
Oh, Delata Kasure 당보텔라 립시 천유구 예와단 세배 땜바 서유예와 타야바 세지 태여가네.
So then the root text is the divisions of the obscurations into 9 defining characteristics, illustration by simile, limitless divisions.
다디 립시 천유구 예와테 간절에서나 차당 당당 몽당데 군당 차당 파차당 통공람람 말람바 마다당 다비살라 내바이 세치데 라.
And so that is verse 131, the 9 forms of defilements and obscurations, the strong arousal, the predispositions. Is that was the 9 forms of defilements, the latencies of seeds of desire, hatred, and obscurations, which are overcome by the exalted wisdom of a superior, the strong arousal or manifestation of those 3 poisons, the level of the predispositions of ignorance, which are the means of achieving the uncontaminated actions, and the mental body in the continuum of a foe destroyer, and which are to be overcome by the exalted wisdom of the great enlightenment, the objects to be abandoned by the path of seeing, the object of to be abandoned by the path of meditation, and objects to be abandoned by the impure grounds, which are to be overcome by the pure grounds, and the defilements dependent on the pure grounds, which are to be overcome by the Vajra-like meditative stabilization.
That's right.
The Sawa.
That's right. 차단 당당 monda 군당 차단 통공파람. 다디 차단 당당 monda 니 자카산지 친차르디 안에 드린 양셔지 지는 샤나디 라. So
we went through this yesterday, so we'll go over it again.
내가 치워서서 저 대발을 대자다 차와 세디 칸데질레스 그래서 가서 쉬어야 봐. 치워서나 소소 저 그러와. 소소 저와를 대발을 대자다 차와 지용시 그 말에 삼거래디. 디 대발을 대자다 차와 세디 대배 아니 또 대라 세비 세방원 주와 다 차와 쓰거래.
So when we talk about the childish or the ordinary sentient being, being free of desire and anger like this, you don't really have in the state of being an ordinary being, being free of desire. But here, being free of desire refers specifically to the being free of the craving of the desire.
여발라 대자단 자위 아니 가사 그 줄라 지대는 대위 남지 점자 점바 차와 하사 지대는 대위 남세야데 다 남천이 파베 남라체 그봐 지대면 대위 남지 시시 점바 차와 다 여발라 대자단 자위 자와데 줄라 아니 가서 그래 여발라 대비 대자 운주와 아니 차와단 차와 운주와단 차와 인장 뒤리 깨와 랭 유대 코르 깨와 랭지 그 유대라 아니 감코마르지 안 깨와 랭에 현이 감코마르 아니 깨기 유등을 쓴 거래 어디인자 자유지라 직된비 남지 이시지 쇼바 차와 감코마니 스나 수다 수마니 템버 차비 수메도 깨와라 차바기 레군에 농와 차바 아니 대자당 예당당 몸바 숨체 몸바.
So in the case of being divorced from the desire for desire realm, in case of such as these individuals who do not have this kind of direct or manifest forms of desire like this, then their karma that they accumulate is the karma that brings forth rebirth in the the two higher realms, the form and the formless realms, and this particular, their desire is something that which is overcome by the supramundane path, by an Arya path.
That's right.
Is this clear? 양조치 쓰는다.
우리 단다디 차당 난당 몬당니 군당 차당 파자당是吧? 디디 차바당 되자당 아니 그 되자당 세당당 엄마 말이 봤음지 뭐 숨고도와 그럼 엄마 말이 봤음 뭐 대라 지대비 되자당 차위 가서 소소교 되발라 되자당 차위 줄라 예비 아니 뭔가 말을 받지단 되자당 아니 세당 지용 그랬어 대수라 대자이 뭔가 말을 받이 가르래잖아 딱고 되발라 되자당 자와 인상 감 광마를 제와 편지기 내 군에 나와지기 아니 되자당 세당당 뭔가 아니 좀 팔아냐자 좀 팔아냐지 그렇아
So in the case of the ordinary beings who have desire, anger, ignorance, and in dormant states, in the case of these ordinary beings who are free of the worldly desire, meaning desire for the desire realm, they have this desire, anger, and ignorance in dormant forms, but what they don't have is a worldly desire, meaning desire for the desire realm. And so in their case, whatever karmas are accumulated by them, because they are free of the worldly desire, the desire for the desire realm, so their karmas are karmas that bring a rebirth in the form and formless realms.
가서래 두승 대라 차당 모습당 두승 군단 차보 대라 두승 군단 차보 대라 소남질래 소남도 소남 많이 빌래서나 영감기 연도당 안도 저 편식이래라 쓰고 와라 영감기 아니 연도당 안도 저 편식이 소남당 소남 많이 빌래 군에 체부이 아니 영감 바식 주바 청gan기 지기 단
And with regards to the forceful arising of the three poisonous minds, then you have two types: those that accumulate meritorious karma and those that accumulate non-meritorious types of karma, and accordingly, bring effect a rebirth in the desire realm, either higher rebirth or lower rebirth within that desire realm.
Lorduna, Lucian Duole, Colada, China, come common Java Penji, develop the Jatan Travi, Kansat, Unjuatan Travi, Kansat, come common Java Penji, Leginana, the Jatan, Ani Maribadang. That tends you are, that Shetan you are Marimado. 아니 세단 요 말 세단 문주와 요 말에 보다 셴바 요 말이 지신도 소남 칸 오만 대바를 안저다 제와 편지기래 그냥 롱와 제바기 아니 대자다 세단다 아니 말이 받아 두승 군단 차보지 그냥 롱와 저는 많이 베끈로를 제바기 등간 바시 두바치기 이요아래 세가라
So another way you can say is that for accumulating the karma to be reborn in the two higher realms, form and the formless realms, then you need desire and you need ignorance. You don't have anger. That's the one that's not there for accumulating karma to be reborn in the two higher realms. Then for the karma for accumulating the karma to be reborn in the desire realm, higher rebirth as human beings, lower rebirth, for that, then you need desire, anger, ignorance, as well as the forceful arising of those three poisons, and then accordingly you accumulate the karma, virtuous or non-virtuous, for those respective realms of rebirth within that desire realm.
Mondani Quindan Chada said Chintache. Pachadang say Gala, Jajambula, Jajambala Yoba, Jajambula Yoba, Sameki led to Chichi, Maripachata, Maripi Pachata.
So then you have the next one, the fifth, which is the predispositions of ignorance. Like in the case of the arhants, these predispositions of ignorance is what generates the uncontaminated karma, the imprints of ignorance.
Oh, Ani Kasore, Soso Jila Yongangi, Tombanche, Papa Lobby Jila Yomagangi, Wambanche. Soso Jula, the Papa Lobby Jila Yoba, Tonlam down, Gonlamji Bancha.
And so
that's one. So Jila Yoba, Tombang. Papa Jila Yoba, Gombang. In the Soso Jila Yoba, the Papa Lobby Jila Yoba, Tonlam down, Gonlamji Bancha Tang.
Then you have the abandonments of the path of seeing in the continuum of an ordinary being, the abandonments of the path of meditation in the continuum of an Arya being. And then you have the defilements in relation to the 7 impure levels, and defilements in relation to the 3 pure levels. So they are differentiated in this manner by their defining characteristics, not because they are different in nature.
Oh yeah, that Tini Yagi Chatan Danda Mondandi said Tusumji Palanya said Chitang, Tusunji Palanya said Tusungi Sabina Koguari.
So when we talk about the dormant states of the desire, anger, and ignorance, the dormant states refer to the seeds of desire, anger, and ignorance.
Tusungi Palanyani. Seven Bashik do on the Chamares. Maimba Karesana, come Komi Jawan Duchi Jigi, Sebadang, Ani Yamonju Wateda, Sebangunju Wata, Selangunju Wateta Yang, Tusungi Palanyaganala Duare.
So the 3 poisons in dormant state do not refer only to the to the seeds of these afflictions, but also includes certain manifest afflictions, like for example, the craving that create the higher realms. Like in the 12 links, you have the craving, grasping, like that. Those.
That time to some said, "Zoche, come on, to some ganani, Shedam Yari." Wow, to some said. Deja the Timonial Toche Jagorama, Kang Komana, Shedam Yache. In that there's a Kang Command Ruji, Shedan in Juma in the start, Deja the Maribani Wategi. Shedan in Juma in the Shedan on Jua Kang Komana, Kang Koma Pejeta to check in your Kandu Yamiru Shiro.
So there is you do not have anger as one of the causal factors for creating the karma to be reborn in the form and the formless realms. The anger that creates the higher realms, however, is not manifest anger, because the manifest anger cannot be cannot be creating and throwing affliction for the higher realms.
因此，其他没被军战的，按你定义自己前辈，看上希望那些，让了你把钱数切多切把九十两把当，让给找我了你把钱数切多切把九十两了，让给找我了判大把数的切把九，我听这个，按你上路，我听这个有阿妈的事，现在你比西谷有阿妈的，我听没把人在学堂有阿妈的。
So the reason why they do not have the reason why there is no manifest anger is because all manifest forms of anger are kind of are subdued by that concentration, the concentration that is imbued with not having any thought of this person has harmed me, is harming me, or will harm me, or this person has possibly harmed me in the past, could possibly harm me now, and could possibly harm me in the future, like that, or that this person has harmed my friends and loved ones in the past, is harming my friend and loved ones in the present, will harm my friends and loved ones in the future. Like there are these 9 bases for generating anger. So this type of basis for one's anger it has been sort of neutralized by that concentration.
So this
is the divisions of the obscurations into the 9 definitions.
And for the
illustration of the obscurations by example, and you have the root verse 132 are indicated by the 9 examples of the covering of a lotus and so forth. But the divisions of cover, yes.
Come to Gigi, Timon Gu, Beman Bula, so you pay me up to 10 days. I die in that Tima Lubu the Shiva Chavichito,
So these 9 examples are examples to point out the fact that the defilements are advantageous. These examples that illustrate how the basic element is obscured.
Oh yeah, that is what and that is the council. Say you were tired by Imbatella. Say you were tired by Imbatella, that in that is Imbata. New Mobujini, you were Chawatale there.
For limitless divisions, you have the last 2 lines of 132. But the divisions of coverings of afflictive emotions are beyond the limits of number.
Mamboshi chair, what thing is say you gonna chair, Nambu gonna chair, and the China Mamboshi, Yawashi Vatala, Yabashawa Chow.
So, if these divisions were expanded further, then the number of clear divisions of these covering afflictions would be limitless, because if you divide them by their aspect, then it's limitless. When you divide them by the how these obscurations are at different levels, then also it's like limitless.
That Java Dimbana. Zawa Java Nikin Java Tela Timalubu Yava Dotamba Sushi Java Sheba
And then for the commentary, you have the brief teaching on the adventitious nature of defilements and the detailed explanation of the nature of each defilement.
Oh yeah, that and the castle. You have got them, but then Lord Duna Nimungu Teta, Tishi will come down, number Tabale. Number Tabale, Sanjaji Sula Sova, Pemin Bubla Sova Tar. Ranshila Mashivi Charundu Yabanito Sitati Dimbade Chaso Chuma Guboni Dodinani Korimshin Pemen Bubla Sova Yepiguta Yanda She Simendo Paja Wrong. So the order my mingi or
these 9 defilements, desire and so forth, are briefly indicated respectively by the 9 examples of the covering of a lotus and so forth. So to summarize these 9 afflictions, covering the naturally pure Tathagata basic element are like the lotus covering a form of the Buddha, etc., in the sense that they are not part of the nature of mind, but are adventitious and can be removed. And then detailed explanation of the nature of each and the classification of the names and the definition of each one of them.
Kundan Chabo Simi Kare Nandro Jiki Sochi So Kunalobi Nimon Diware.
And the names, this runs from what are these 9 up to found on the pure levels. The word forceful can also apply to afflictions that initiate acts such as killing that create the low realms.
Tatini Sosi Sani Shabatella Tusunji Pala Nyada Unju Shaba Maripaja Chisa Shaba Tomana Goma Shaba Madaba Tabi Sala Tempe Chima Shaba subject.
Definition of each. For the definition of each, you have 4 points. 3 poisons, dormant and manifest, the ground of the predispositions of ignorance, path of seeing and path of meditation, abandonments, defilements found in the impure and pure levels.
Tusunji Palani Unju Shabatella, Tamboni Panja Shan Namjang. That Kasore Neranda Chanjuji, Tijenji, Panja Shan Kande in Yang, Tombanda Gomani Sun Dugu Are, Yuda Dugu Rede, Munju Wada Sabe Rumji Pongwatang, Munju Wada Sabe Rumji Pongwatang.
So all of the abandonments for the hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas, all abandonments are all subsumed within abandonments of the path of seeing and abandonments of the path of meditation. So the way in which they are abandoned is first abandoning the manifest forms and then the seeds.
I'm just a little confused with some of these terms. Kundan Thakur, does that mean the same as Mundur? And then Sabun being the same as
Kundan Thakur senang tutunga sugirwa.
Unju Wada Toche.
Palanya de Sabin la shagra.
Sabin la che. Sabin Chibo Maris Lasonga.
So forceful the term forceful that comes here, forceful arising, is manifest forms of the 3 poisons, and dormant is also same as the seeds, but the seeds don't mean only the within the category of the this. Sabundi Karsuma gang. Sabundi
Sabin Tusunji Palanas. Tusunji Palanyas and Sabin Asha. 다 팔나라 사벨 지보 말이지. 감두지 코만 제지기 아니 지난주에 두순 팔아냐 그나라 두고 아래 시작도 와.
Even those, to be reborn in the formless realms, form and formless realms, you have the craving and grasping of the 12 links. Those are also regarded as dormant. So it's not just the seeds of the afflictions.
That wasn't so clear.
That's right.
I think it was the dormant seeds being included within, sometimes included along the manifest forms in terms of the higher realms. Can you just ask
And Palanya ta dechata Maripa Dinsu and the Kam Homa Duriagi Cheto, Kam Komele Duriagi.
전조 가세 팔아냐게나는 뒤샤레스 지단 두시거래와 두순지 팔아냐 세가라 두순지 사변로 과치거래 와 두사변나 팔아냐세 다야 팔아냐 세들라 시왕문주와당 시와 팔아냐 주지와레 세가라 여와라 셈데 문주와 매방 是吧？我觉得没吧，我觉得有一个呢，按你看说的，俺那做，按你这位车3这个老的我出这有是吧？是吧？我真难心，长久先把养下不住了，按你工作什么阶段，长久个什么就有啊的，怕人家有出去有啊的这个。 我的有的开始是那当年我从到北，这些对人把下一代听我就有的是。
So,
是吧？
you have the seeds of the 3 poisonous minds, and you have the dormant states of those 3 poisonous states of the minds, and they are the same, like that. They are the same, but then you can also differentiate manifest and dormant. Like, for example, a mind state which is a particular mind state which is manifest, and a particular mind state that which is dormant. Take the example of a bodhisattva who has both the ultimate bodhicitta as well as the conventional bodhicitta. But in the state of being in equipoise, although it has both of this mind, what is manifest in equipoise is that ultimate bodhicitta directly perceiving emptiness, and what is dormant is the conventional bodhicitta, like that. So you can differentiate like that.
因此，这当看啥的剧啦，写话的人呐，我就对于我对爱情。 看啥的人呐，写话看啥的剧来写话的人呐，我就对要过过马的钱呢，这当送到民间医院的，
So
是吧？
there are 2 points of view here. Some say that if a particular consciousness exists in that person, it has to be a manifest kind. And then there is a second viewpoint which says that if a particular consciousness exists in that person, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the manifest form.
因此，什么娘下把真正剧啦，工作长久的什么当，俺迎接了说话，看说的越顺干的个。 越讲我就对要骂的，越的送话的，是吧？越的都我就对要骂的，我就对看的话的，当你都被写了要蛮对要骂的送话的，
So therefore, in the case of a bodhisattva in equipoise, then minds like compassion, bodhicitta is present, but is not manifest in equipoise. So that is in the case of those who hold the view that if a certain consciousness exists in a person, it does not necessarily have to be of the manifest kind. So,
原来我就对要过的，兄弟讲了， 原来我就一直讲了，念下不住了，甚至想去先把，想去念下不住了，甚至要骂的，甚至没那样，现在当年多比念当年我从多比写的，工作长久给身当，人家全部给马上把它有卷要骂的，没卷毛看的来是呢，长久给身当，人家全部给修的要的，是吧的，修的，是吧？
So, for those who hold the view, for those who hold the view that if a particular consciousness exists in a person, then it has to be of the manifest kind. For those who hold that kind of view, then they say that in the case of a bodhisattva's equipoise in emptiness, even though they do not have that equipoise in emptiness, held by the conventional bodhicitta or by the method, but they say that it has the strength of those minds. That equipoise into emptiness has the strength of those methods. So that is how they say it is present. So then you have this viewpoint that if that mind exists, it shouldn't exist as a force behind it. It should exist, as it is like that, not as just a force.
아니 슈데 예바 쇼그레 연ang 원주도 요고고 말에 써야지 다 대단히 요아래 전다질 내고 와래.
So then you have the second viewpoint saying that if it exists as a force, then it should exist. So that way you have different interpretations like this. But in meaning it's the same thing.
이제 변전 선한 잡아라 소와기 개와 가시 이자 가시기 로살린 이자 아니 아소레 다시는 몰라요 아래 간단 샤즈라 샤즈 타산에서 이제 뒤뒤지 샤단시지 간라 슈디 예배 예바 미셔봐 아니 찬선밥이 찬선야삽지라 샘지 요 말에 샘지 그 슈요아래
So, according to the the philosophical study in like Losele, Tashilumbo, Gandhin Shatsi, in accordance to the writings of Benchen Sunam Dakpa, then Shugla Yena. They say that if a mind is existent, if a particular consciousness is there as just a force, then it's not existent. That's their viewpoint. The philosophical study that they follow follows this kind of view that. If it exists as a force, then it's not there. So therefore, that conventional bodhicitta is not there.
semji yogore shukde yebe semji yobare 연ang 원주도 요고고 말이 사톤에 semji 제바단 trawa sig 말이 전에 다 제거 말이
So in accordance with the treatises followed in Sirje or writings of Kunken Chaya Shepa and so say Chaya Shepa che girls Chaya Shepa chance
Chaya Shepa da 다시 뭐군요 천조 배산다 자자 탐바 접시지다
girls of church their viewpoint is that that if a particular consciousness exists as a force, then it should be regarded as existing. Shukla yuna yogores.
Shuk the Yebe Yovasha.
Because so they say that their viewpoint is that if a consciousness exists as a force, then it should be existent, but it is existent as a dormant force. So in existing, it doesn't have to exist as a manifest form. It can still exist as a in its dormant aspect. So, their following is that if it exists, it doesn't have to exist manifestly. So it's just like the example of, you can have the wish to eat and drink, but the wish to eat and drink doesn't have to be like when one is really hungry or thirsty. So you have these two points of view that, for example, one view that if it exists as a force, then it has to be existent, and then you have the second point of view that if it is existent as a force, it doesn't have to be directly, manifestly existent, because previous cultivation of that mind of bodhicitta, that method, can sustain that equipoise. Is sustaining that equipoise in that manner, then it exists as a force. So if it if you say it should exist manifestly, then say for example, the wish to eat or drink, like when we are hungry, that mindset has to be there continuously. That mindset has to be there continuously. But from the point of view of the interpretation that if it is there, it doesn't have to be, in that manifest way. It's like, you can have the wish to eat and drink normally, but which is different from the manifest form of, forceful form of wanting to eat and drink, like when we are hungry. It's two different. So there's one version that that mind should be there throughout, as and then differentiating between a mind of wanting to eat when you're hungry and wanting to eat not when you're not hungry, like the two minds.
Yeah, that thing, unjua, that and the digi carrier, they do a bunch of shanum, Tomba, the company to do me down, say, Tayage. Chat to Sungapala Nyasum, Gundan Chapo, Ani Tombang Gombang, Madas Sadundang, Tabasa Sungapanja Kang Shavad, Lord Dina, Tomba the Gombani to Guari.
all of those nine kind of obscuring factors like desire, anger, ignorance and dormant state, or in the mode of their forceful arising, and as well as all of those predispositions, can all be as well as the defilements of the seven impure levels, the defilements in relation to the three pure levels. All of them can be subsumed within as objects of the abandonment of the path of seeing and path of meditation.
Now, you are ready. Anita, Chadang, Tusum, Chadang, Chabodang, Tusumda, Chadang, Chabodang, Maripaja is a Tongo Melvas to stand go the Gunjan Carre Sana. Munju at Sabe Rimji Pawa, Munju at Tambopane, Tijela, a Sabe Pawata. The Chedu, Chadanda, Mondang, said the Tishabares. Tiba member Drajon Tobiti, that Panja Kazu Liwa, the Kasashuana, Drajon Tobigana, Panja Kazu Liwa, that Kasore, Maripacha Samado, Nijumalu, Pantawa Yinzang, Drajon Tobiti, Panja Hama Chisam Liwa, Shibi Chedu, Aniwa the Chavares.
So the reason why you have classification of all of these obscurations as desire, anger, ignorance, endowment states, and forceful. Why you have this is to denote the way in which, in the graduated series in which these obscurations need to be abandoned, first in their manifest form, and then later in the way of their seeds, and also to denote, like when one attains the state of an arhat, then to denote what else needs to be abandoned, in the state of attaining an arhat, then one has abandoned the obscuration of the afflictions. Then what remains to be abandoned are all the grounds of the imprints of ignorance.
Tantini, tell Gasore, Jiden be Dejadan Chawa, Jula Sega, Tataju, Kondo Shivana Shinchani, Jiden be Lamla Dene. Jiden be Lamla Dene, Ani Devenimo Unjua Pama. Or what Devenimo Unjua Pambi. Or Devenimo Unjua Pambi, Kasati Jula, Yubi. Nyoma Kanto Pabi legend, I mean, the second legend, Tikana, Tijula Kario, and touching come common Java Pensic Lemando, the Barja Pensic Lem Larawa, the Barja Pensic Laquina Lava, Nyuma Unjua, the Shipama Inza.
So, in the case of those ordinary beings who have, who have no desire of the desire realm, worldly desire, then in that case, then they do not have these manifest forms of these desires of the desire realm. So their karma, whatever karma they accumulate, are karmas that propel a rebirth in the two higher realms, the form and the formless realms.
Oh. Nyuma Kanto Pabi legend, Nami said, Tendravi, come common Java Pensic legend, Naminde. Lady Sasana, Lady Naminde, and it's a shanty member you are married. The Bala member you are married. Member is a session to Mio Inza, Mio Villasiguares. The dead one. Let me send to Mio, Mui to jealousy, do, share sauce.
And so when the ripening of their karma happens, it ripens only in rebirth in the form and formless realms, and cannot sort of change to other levels of birth, cannot change to other states of birth. So here it's in the commentary, afflictions in the continuum of those divorced from worldly desire are causes of unmoving mental formations like the invariable karmas, in the sense that the ripening of the karma brought on by these afflictions cannot be moved or changed to other levels.
아니 ngandro jiwa panchi gile da debi ngandro jiwa panchi gile da sona mai bile da kham khoma suda sumi ni ga le jiwa panchi gile da myo bile status sagorwa.
So you have karma categorized into three types: meritorious karma, non-meritorious karma, and invariable or immovable karmas. So meritorious karma effect rebirth in the God realms, in the human realms. Non-meritorious karmas effect rebirth in the low realms, and immovable or invariable karmas effect rebirth in the form and the formless realms.
강지 sonam 미요요 강지 산이 대다도 레나 미지 미요 치를 세이가나 미요빌레 감고마리 겨 편지 레지 사타사나 레디나 미지 되오지 진이나 고마리 겨만도 아니 사현도 미바지와 말이 강지 산이 현도니 맘에 미요 와서 그 굉장히 대리.
So with regards to those immovable karmas, when the ripening of the effect takes place, then ripening effect takes place specifically in the two higher realms, form and formless realms, and cannot be changed into any other rebirth. So in that sense, the ripening karma brought on by these afflictions means the affliction or divorce from the worldly desire that cannot be moved or changed to other levels.
지양매 시제 제가라 대제라 감순보들라 사고기 두셔거래.
So we say that the three realms consist of 9 levels. So what are those 9 levels? Is the desire realm is 1 level, and then you have the form realm has 4 levels, the 4 levels of meditative states of concentration, and the formless realm has 4 levels, infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, and peak of samsara. So you have 9 levels in the three realms consist of these 9 levels.
我听见一张，他听的马车干了，狮子牙下边，狮子马因把个江面，南个台，那么些台，南个台，3点西哇，顺吧，安尼你话汤不，对吧？我听面这个你们就话的，他可能在那几点别人，告诉的几点别人来在那帮一话的，是他的吃了完了一话的。 투모와 치료와다 투모하래. 아, 대면제 그 녀몽은 주와디 직된 빌람라 때내 뻥이 와래.
시지빈.
시지 맞지바. 시지야샤.
So all the manifest forms of afflictions that exist in the first 8 levels, meaning excluding the 9th level of the peak of samsara, excluding the 9th level 9th level of samsara, all manifest afflictions that exist in these first 8 levels, from desire to the in the level of desire, the 4 of the form realm, and the first 3 of the formless realm. Infinite space, infinite consciousness, and nothingness. in all these levels, whatever manifest forms of afflictions are there can be abandoned by a worldly path.
Deba Chetunga, Nimo Mawala Sovaki, and Debi Jawatela Gendota. And sometimes Tambotella Daddy Shiva, Simjitingi, Juliamba Inza, Shiva, Danny. And sometimes Tambi Java Drubi Chetu, Komari Jiva Drubicato, and sometimes Sam Gomni, Ding is Gomni. The Shila Shilana, the Shila from the Tawash Kokwari, Shila from the Tomni. And Nieto. Nieto said you are that Ponjaki, when you are Ponjaki. Or take it, then be lam take it. And Shiragana Bate, Jitan, Japon, New Yang, Siang Manager. That's it, said the Tama Tawa de Yinzang, they then be Lamik Pon to go, Marichitan, Lamji Shomba Chaware.
So the part said, although all the manifest afflictions of the realms up to the realm of nothing at all can be abandoned by the worldly path of coarse and subtle aspects. What does this worldly path consist of? Is this worldly path seeing the shortcomings of the desire realm? The sicknesses and diseases and the short life, seeing the many shortcomings of the desire realm, then they sort of look forward to the attainment of the peace of the higher realms.
Ane kondo mewa ta tindiki kien shiwa tendi kana ane samdhan thambo kiawa dhubi chidu ane samdhan thambo kiawa penchiki laya la tingi zi gogo mendo kiawa laya tamji dhigo amari.
So all of the shortcomings of the desire realm existence in relation to that, they have a sense of renunciation of to part from this, seeing the shortcomings of that, and see the peace of the first level of meditative concentration of the form realm. They see the peace of that, the being free of all of these manifest forms of these afflictions. So they aspire to attain the first in comparison to all the shortcomings of the desire realm. Then they see the first level of the meditative concentration of the form realm as something really peaceful to strive towards, to achieve. And so to attain that, then it's not sufficient just having the force of virtuous karmic accumulations. One has to have concentration as well.
Oh, tenderly, ane jikden bi lamde, nyamo ponje ke jikden bi lamde dala, jikden bi lami lam mai.
So
tenderly lamde, jikden bi kwam lami, kwam lam mai.
So such a worldly path that abandons all these manifest forms of afflictions of the desire, such a worldly path is a worldly path, but not a path. Is a worldly path of meditation, but it's not the path of meditation.
Raison that the city said to Jimon, Jikden Bela Pom in Nibe, Jikden and David, is a Palam Shambachawa.
But the afflictions in relation to the peak of samsara, for that, you cannot overcome that by the means of a worldly path. One has to generate the Arya path.
In the German magic, Nemo on you are the ane jikden bilamji shomjari mado, German magic, Nemo Tedaki, Sabindi, 아니 지대는 대비람 코네 방sha래 스테다게 사베니 대람 바시게 방와쳐와 이노
So everything below the level of nothingness, all of the afflictions, all of the manifest afflictions below the level of nothingness, then can be abandoned by a worldly path. But the seeds and everything above, then you have to rely upon an Arya path.
아니 지대는 빌라나 되는 방아요 아래서 다 대다게 사변데 지대는 되는 방고래서
On all of the manifest afflictions can be abandoned by the means of a worldly path. The seeds need to be abandoned by the means of an Arya path.
대자라 소바 대자라 소와라 죄비 semjengu dila yebi 다 되바기 되비 삼이 펜바당 난로 펜바 세비 되비 삼이 펜바 하다 메지와 펜제게 레다라 다 다시 시원에 소남당 난로 펜바 세바데라 소남 마이 빌레 레 두체비 두소 스타트체
Acts of desire and so forth in the continuum of sentient beings are the causes for virtuous and non-virtuous mental formations. As stated earlier, we talked about meritorious and non-meritorious karma that cause a rebirth in the desire realm as human beings or devas, or in the lower realms are these types of karmas, virtuous, non-virtuous karmas.
어떠니 미두고 컴피팅이 진지 대장운주 시지는 봐. 참바고 말할 때는 세당운주 시지는 봐. 제바 남종이 남종 냠술련 봐 남장. 아니 한 텐데야 요아래서 미두고 말할 때는 아니 요대라 대자가에 참바고 말할 때는 바로 보라 세당가에 텐데 요아래서
Our meditation is on ugliness or in the impurities is what are the meditations that counteract our manifest gross forms of desire and attachment. And then when we meditate on loving compassion, loving kindness, then that counteracts our manifest forms of anger and hatred. So these are the yogas to purify our conduct.
나 초로랑 오타데 군시 샤지 셰비 루다나 스나 다 이기 남시 데시와를 가소데 남시 초제도 등간지다 삼점바데라 룽기 제나 그 삼점바당 안니 리비 제나 그 삼점바세 니예베나네 룽기 제나 그 삼점베기 남시 초주 스리가나 미기 남시네 이 남시 그 밖에 남시 초주 대량 오타데베기 아니 군시 생겨지 샤시고 와데 가사가 천시 와 데시고데
So you have those viewpoints that accept six consciousness, eight consciousness. Like in the Uttaratantra school, you have two sub-schools that follow scripture and that follow reasoning. Uttaratantra following scripture and those that follow reasoning. So in the case of the Uttaratantra following the scriptures, then they accept six consciousness, from visual consciousness to mental consciousness, six consciousness, and then they accept a separate consciousness, which is the consciousness which is the basis of all. And that is the basis upon which a person is labeled.
텐다위 루다나 아니 텐다 가르에서 삼대지 무시 톰나 대배 니모 문주와 방고야래 와타 중에도 방고라 임바 어 되게 소주랑 오다다 군시 된겐 되게 아니 된 영감바 영감마 지기 아주 덴비 삼이 가루 지기 아니 삼대지 무시 토바이나 아니 되게 아니 우 삼대 용어시 토바인자 대비 니몬 강가 빵그레 온주와 강가 뽕그레 세나 어디기 단 등간배 삼대 탐비 무시소 토장 대비 니몬 대비 세디지 니몬 제지 온주와 뽕니고 말했어 다 가르서는 니 생각지와래 니 생각데 어다 도야요 말이
So,
so
from the point of view of these, like in Chitmarchans following the scripture, who assert six consciousness and then this separate consciousness, which is the basis of all. Then, from the viewpoint of this particular school, then they say that when the beings from the desire realm attain the first level of the form realm's meditative state of absorption, then they say that according to the view, then they assert that all manifest forms of the afflictions are not abandoned at that first level, and there's a reason for that. According to those who accept a foundation consciousness as an entity separate from the sixth consciousness, a being of the desire realm develops the actual states of the first concentration and so forth, but does not abandon the manifest mind of affliction of the desire realm. This they support with the 30 verses which says, wherever they are born there, and so on.
가르에서나 그 3대 용어시 소가 토바 인상 대박이 니모시엔라 차와래 단 니유지 요와인다 니유지 대비 니모 용거래 대가래서나 니유시양 남시 지와래 다도 당진인가지 니유시가지 남시 초제여와 남시 초제게나 초주체 니유체 유시체 도 시작거래
니유데 가르스 월스 혼자
니유 생각에 남시체 강사가 당선돼
가서가 된스 so
뭐바 군시라 메네 남바 다도 좋아 생각이 너지라 생각해
so because they assert a manifest mind of affliction, and this is what does this manifest mind of affliction of the specifically referred to is they hold as their object the foundational consciousness, and in dependence upon this consciousness then have that kind of self-grasping.
예상 니이디 사카도 제에나야 그 니모 연구하래 예상대로 대비된기 3대 용어시 토벽이 대배 땡젠디기 강사그 주지 니이디 아니 대변이 니인고 대변이 뭐 니이자 대변이 뭐 인고래 인자 된다 니몬데 빵마송아 참마송아
so if it's the manifest mind of affliction of whatever particular realm it belongs to, then it has to be the affliction of that particular realm. So if it's the manifest mind of affliction of a desire realm, then it has to be the affliction of that realm.
간도 제바 태우스도 인연기 소주가도 간도 제바 태우스 간도 제바스나 내 강사라니 대바를 제와이나 대변이 니이디 대변이 뭐 연구래스 대변이 연구래스
that's why wherever they are born there, what that implies is wherever you are born, that manifest mind of affliction is an affliction of that realm, and so therefore it's not abandoned. 진짜수상 안 방요 말했어.
방어 말했어. 뒤지 삼삼룰라 삼대 용어시 토비 사사되기
and therefore it is not to be abandoned in accordance to the Chitmarchana viewpoint.
그러나 삼삼룰라 삼대 용어시 토비 가사되 유라 대배 녀모 현운주와 매장 녀이디 요구래.
So in accordance to the Chitmarchana system, the desire realm being who attains the first level of meditative absorption of the form realm, they have abandoned afflictions, but they have not abandoned the manifest mind of affliction of that desire realm. And so this is the self-grasping in relation to that foundational consciousness. It's okay? It's not very important. So this is the viewpoint of the Chittamatrans who follow scripture, but in the system that we follow, it's not that. What a relief. So just making problems.
Maru Paja Sashabasa,
and then the next page is explaining the ground of the predispositions of ignorance.
Want to be Chanju Sambatang Yanduda Raja Rajambala Jula Yuba Da Ludang Hada Yi Guane, and Lekuna Longa Chabi, and a Gulong draw Chamu. Saba may be lele. And you be Jew, Saba may less or Judy, and you caress a Maripacha, Raw Maripacha Sati. You knew Montemami be you lose from Juba Cheba, Tishibi, Shik Shomba Chavakani, but that is you can Pangava Resena, Tishibi, Shik Shomba Chavi, Maripacha said to Bashecha.
So the imprints or the predispositions, the grounds of the predispositions of ignorance that give rise to non-afflicted karma, uncontaminated karma, with very little effort, motivation, without the defilements of afflictions. This is gotten rid of by only the exalted wisdom of the Tathagatas. So, and this imprints of the ignorance, who has this is the Bodhisattvas, the hero and solitary realizer arhants, and it refers to that subtle motivational effort that generates non-afflicted karma with the activities of their body, speech, and mind.
Doduna want to be Chanju Sambatan, Yaran Rajum be Gula Yubi, Ani Sameki Le Guna Longa Chebi, Ani Mari Pajaji Sadi, Ani Subongores, and I send him Bemi Hindu to Juni beyond about Soviet Sanjaki. And the Bangla Church, and the Bemi Hindu Juni, but the Sanjaki Church, you are yes, a Tishibi, and the Mari Pajaki side Bangla.
So, in short, we can say that who has these predispositions of this ignorance are those bodhisattvas and hearers and solitary realizer arhants, and these predispositions of ignorance is what generates the non-afflicted karma of the body, speech, and mind. For effecting rebirth of these mental bodies, and who overcomes these is the exalted knower of the Buddhas, who accomplishes activities benefiting sentient beings effortlessly and spontaneously. Within the continuum of the bodhisattvas who have gained the powers, and their hero and solitary realizer arhants is the subtle motivational effort which initiates the karmas of body, speech, and mind, and is the cause of non-afflicted karma that produce 3 undefiled mental bodies devoid of afflictions, and which will be destroyed by the gnosis of the Tathagata enlightenment. This is the ground of predispositions of ignorance. So, uninterrupted path is the direct antidote for the abandonments.
일단 단 나바타지 집이 이些깨지 당보대 바자 매람도 전에 아니 말을 바자기 상우서帮我 제발 그 더 말해 다한테 얘기 지신심이 좀자 인세야 돼.
You know, the first moment of attaining the enlightened mind, the omniscient mind, you know, is not an uninterrupted path. If you say if that's not an uninterrupted path, that directly acts as an antidote towards the object of abandonment.
因此，帮助我是帮我去填马的，填的人呢，安尼台大那上就去帮着帮为吃话吃心吧给，安尼那么就三节啪啪去，那么就根据他们就来点根去，给三节啪啪去用过来，台大呢帮把他都马多把他为捐用的。
So, if you designate the first moment of the attainment of the omniscient mind as being still an uninterrupted path, which uninterrupted path is regarded as a direct antidote toward an object of abandonment, then you would have to say that this omniscient mind of an Arya Buddha is still in the mode or in the act of abandoning objects of abandonment, and so therefore would not be regarded, would not qualify as having achieved ultimate abandonment.
我这里等于说，杀猪给经济他嘛，本地那个啦，按照他们早晚你要买的是，他们要买的是，他们呢，那么就感觉他们拍在马上都民族啊，大些没需要的大，是吧？
So the end of the continuum of the 10th level bodhisattva, then within that continuum there is no traces of defilements whatsoever, and so therefore in the phase of the first moment of attainment of omniscience, then you know there's no need for that uninterrupted path.
因此，当实际经济他们那个说，起码要买的，起码在结巴的是。
So the end of the continuum of the the 10th level bodhisattva, even though that continuum does not have defilements, but it is said to be with defilements.
起码当查完了，没把咱们起码当查完下个嘛是上去人，起码没把咱们那你起码当查完没晓吧？
So in our system, just because defilements have been removed, just because it has been you've been separated from those defilements, doesn't qualify that it is non-existent.
当起码当查完是个没晓吧？起码当查完是的，起码的但没几位缺陷都切吧，没把咱们把但没几位缺陷都切吧去过过的是。
So being separated from those defilements does not qualify. Why it does not qualify as as non-existent is because that separation from defilements has to be at the level of where it will never arise again.
因此，今天的待遇，那么就帮着扛当扛，帮队长把人当，帮着台长台，俺没见，你不提多就帮着台，俺没见为缺陷都切完了，俺那他妈帮着台帮把下个的，他怎么样？帮着扛当扛人呢，同样光帮看得起呢，今天为了帮就听着人的。
In all of the Arya paths, supramundane paths, when a particular antidote acts as and works to abandon a particular object of abandonment, when it has been abandoned to the degree of never arising again, is when it is qualified as having been abandoned.
今天为咱们的帮着我就我才他帮队干了，人性我就我。 In
the worldly paths, and as opposed to the Arya paths, in the case of the worldly paths, whatever is abandoned is partially abandoned, some are abandoned, some are not abandoned, and it is never abandoned to the degree of where it will never arise again.
Oh, then 이제 다 됐어요. 이제 다 가상으로 가면 좋아나 세찬이 사주 균지 탐미 뒤라 말이 바자지 사당 사맥이 내대 가는 매체 말이 바자지 사당 사맥이 내지 깨비 아니 가서 류대 된다 하여야 돼.
So as we talked about this yesterday, in the end of the continuum of a bodhisattva of the 10th level, then what has been halted are all imprints of the grounds of ignorance, the non-afflicted karma. All that has ceased, but what has not ceased is the body that which has arisen from this.
So this
body is abandoned when one attains the all-knowing, omniscient state of mind in which your body is transformed into the Buddha body. So when we first attain the path of preparation, when we first attain the path of preparation, then the attainment, that transition into that path of preparation, there is no changing of life or birth that allows for that, that makes room for that transition into the path of preparation. There's no like change of birth or like that, anything like that. But the previous aggregates, that one had, then is transformed into a body which is in the nature of the mind, that body, and that is how that transition into the path of preparation is made. And what allows for that transformation are like the purity of the extraordinary compassion is what allows for that transformation.
Yeah.
The last moment of the 10th level bodhisattva is not an uninterrupted path.
The last moment.
It's not a liberation.
Sachube Gyunthe Semchora. Di Pachamelen.
Dinda Pachamana, some drumming, when you catch it, Dinda Pachamana, stone you to be shit. I did you go to change something to you are.
It is an uninterrupted path. The first moment of attainment of enlightenment is not an uninterrupted path.
Oh. But
the last moment of that end of continuum of the 10th level bodhisattva is an uninterrupted path, engaged in the direct equipoise and emptiness, and you have also other conventional minds.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniya Tayami